Okay, check your calendars, everyone. It is Saturday, January 24th, 2026.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're anything like me, you are probably looking out the window, seeing maybe some gray skies, a little slush, depending on where you are, and thinking,
I've got time.
I have plenty of time. I can just hibernate for another 2 months before I need to even think about the spring real estate market.
And that specific thought process, that desire to just pull the covers up and wait for the crocuses to bloom is probably the most expensive mistake you can make this year.
I had a sinking feeling you were going to say that. Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Yeah.
Today we are tackling something that feels eternally relevant, but it is specifically urgent right now, this week. We are looking at the return on investment, the famous ROI of home updates.
Right, but we aren't just talking about generic fix-up-your-house advice. We are looking at this through the specific lens of the 2026 market dynamics, because things have shifted.
They really have.
We aren't in the same world we were in 3 or 4 years ago, and if you're operating on that old logic, you're going to leave money on the table.
Okay, so we have a stack of research today from Keeping Current Matters, utilizing the latest data from Zonda and the National Association of Realtors. And the mission today is pretty simple. We want to separate the myths, the stuff we think makes our house worth more, from the reality of what actually puts cash back in your pocket.
And spoiler alert, the reality is often much more boring, but much more profitable than people expect.
I love that. Boring but profitable. Let's set the stage here.
Yeah.
I think the average person, you, the learner listening right now, assumes that if they want to sell their house for top dollar this spring, they need to rip out the kitchen.
Of course. With the kitchen.
Put in the spa bathroom, maybe knock down a wall to create that open concept flow. That's the gold standard we see on TV, right?
Historically, those are the projects we dream about. They look great on Instagram.
They do.
But if you look at the data from Zonda for this year, specifically the cost versus value report, those massive capital-intensive renovations are rarely where you see the dollar-for-dollar return. Not immediately upon resale anyway. In fact, relying on those big projects right now in late January is actually a strategic error.
Okay, let's unpack that.
Wow.
Why is it an error? It's January 24th. The flowers aren't blooming yet. Why is waiting for the weather to turn or starting a big project now a mistake?
It comes down to two things: timing and the move-in ready mandate.
Okay.
The source material from Keeping Current Matters highlights a crucial shift. If you think back to the unicorn years, say 2021, early 2022, inventory was historically low. You could put a tent on a plot of mud and someone would offer you over asking price.
Right. Buyers were desperate. They were panic buying. They'd take anything just to get a set of keys.
Exactly. But fast forward to today, early 2026, inventory has risen. It's normalized.
Okay.
Buyers have options again. And when humans have options, they become picky. They become what psychologists call cognitive misers.
Cognitive misers. I like that.
They don't want to do work. The data shows that buyers today are specifically hunting for move-in ready homes.
So the days of the fixer-upper bidding war are cooling off.
For the average residential buyer? Oh, absolutely. They are looking to buy a home, not a to-do list.
Right.
And this is why the timing matters. If you wait until March or April to start thinking about repairs, or if you start a massive kitchen gut job now, you are going to miss the prime window.
You'll be scrambling.
You will be scrambling. And while you are scrambling to find a contractor, your competition...
The house down the street.
The house down the street that started prepping in January is already listed.
And it looks great.
Right. They look pristine, they're priced right, and they are capturing those buyers who just want to unpack and relax.
That makes so much sense. It's the difference between being proactive and reactive.
Precisely. And in a market with more choices, doing nothing is an active risk. It's not just saving money by not renovating. It's potentially rendering your home invisible to a huge segment of buyers who just don't have the mental bandwidth to take on your deferred maintenance.
I want to dig into that psychological angle, the mental bandwidth issue, a bit more later. But let's get to the meat and potatoes here.
Okay.
The data. You mentioned the Zonda report, which looks at cost versus value. This is the spreadsheet that tells us what actually pays off.
The green bar winners, as the chart calls them, these are the projects where the return is often near, at, or sometimes even above 100% of the cost.
Right. So I'm bracing myself. I'm expecting to see, I don't know, smart home technology or heated driveways. What are the actual winners for 2026?
Well, prepare to be whelmed. The number one standout year after year, and specifically highlighted here, is the garage door replacement.
The garage door.
The garage door.
Okay, I have to push back on this. It goes up, it goes down. It is a giant moving wall. Why on earth is this the ROI champion?
Think about the surface area. On many American homes, especially those built in the last 40 years, the garage is front-loaded. It faces the street.
Right.
It can take up to 40% of the home's visual facade.
That's a good point. It's basically a massive billboard for the house.
Exactly. If that billboard is dented, or the paint is chalky, or it just looks like cheap aluminum from 1995,
Yeah.
it drags down the entire perception of the house before the buyer even steps out of their car. It anchors their price expectation low.
So you're saying a bad garage door makes the buyer think the whole house is cheap?
Correct. And replacing it is relatively affordable compared to a kitchen remodel. You spend a few $1,000s, but you transform nearly half of the front of your house. It's a 100% Curd appeal play.
Okay, so garage doors are number one. What else is on this green bar list?
Manufactured stone veneer.
Ooh, that sounds a little fancier.
Yeah.
Is this just gluing rocks to the front of the house?
In a way, yes, but it's about texture. We
Yeah.
see a lot of homes with flat, monolithic siding, just rows and rows of vinyl. Adding stone veneer to the entry foundation, or the lower third of the facade, adds visual weight. It signals solidity. It signals luxury.
It breaks up the monotony.
Exactly. And right next to that, steel entry door replacement.
Specifically steel, not wood, not fiberglass.
The data specifically loves steel. And think about why. Wood warps and requires constant maintenance.
Right.
Fiberglass is great, but can get pricey. Steel is secure, it's durable, and in 2026, energy efficiency is a massive buyer priority.
A drafty front door is a deal killer.
It is. A modern steel door has a magnetic weather strip like a refrigerator. It closes with a solid thud.
Oh, yeah.
That sound communicates safety and efficiency instantly.
And finally, I see siding replacement on the list.
Yeah.
Specifically vinyl and fiber cement.
I'm sensing you're seeing the theme here.
These are all outside.
You nailed it.
It's basically make the house look good from the street.
It is entirely about the first impression bias. We judge books by their covers, and we judge houses by their skin. But there's another layer to this. These aren't just renovations, they are swaps.
That distinction seems important. What is the difference between a swap and a renovation?
A renovation involves demolition.
Okay.
It involves dust, plumbers, electricians, permits, and weeks of living in chaos. A kitchen is a renovation.
Right.
A swap is take the old component off, put the new component on. You aren't moving walls. You aren't rewiring the house.
The swap sounds a lot less terrifying and faster.
Much faster. Which brings us back to the timing. You can get a garage door swapped in a morning. A kitchen remodel could have you eating microwave meals for 3 months.
True.
In a race against time for the spring market, swaps are your best friend.
So in a market where buyers want move-in ready, the exterior tells them, this house is solid, the envelope is secure.
Correct. If the outside looks neglected, the buyer assumes the inside is too. They assume the furnace is broken.
Wow.
They assume the pipes are leaking. It's the horn effect. A bad exterior casts a shadow over the whole property.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate. I live in a condo, or maybe my siding is pristine, but the inside is. Well, it's been loved, it's lived in. I can't just ignore the interior.
Absolutely not. You can't invite them in with a beautiful steel door and then disappoint them with a dingy living room.
No.
This is where we pivot from the heavy lifting of siding to the high-impact interior updates. The source material references Mallory Slessor, an interior designer and home stager,
Okay.
who spoke to the National Association of Realtors. And she gives great advice for this middle ground.
And what is her verdict?
She calls them updates that pack a punch. And again, they are surprisingly simple. Painting, changing light fixtures, swapping hardware, and new draperies or window treatments.
Okay, painting I get. Everyone says paint it neutral, but hardware? You mean like kitchen cabinet knobs?
Cabinet knobs, door handles, drawer pulls. Slessor calls it the jewelry of the home.
Huh.
Think about it. It's a tactile experience.
There's things you touch.
Exactly. If you walk into a kitchen and the cabinets are decent oak boxes, but the knobs are those sticky, brassy ones from 1995.
Oh, I can feel that stickiness just thinking about it.
Right. It dates the whole room. It feels cheap.
It does.
You spend a couple $100s swapping those for clean, modern, matte black or brushed nickel hardware. Suddenly, when a buyer opens a drawer, that heavy new handle feels like quality.
Yeah.
It tricks the brain into thinking the whole kitchen was updated.
Subconscious is that?
Entirely. Same with light fixtures. We have to talk about the boob light.
The classic nipple light.
Oh.
The flush mount dome.
They are everywhere, and they usually have that yellowed frosted glass that casts a dingy shadow on the ceiling. It makes the room look smaller and dirtier.
So swap it out.
Swap it for a drum shade or a semi-flush mount, and more importantly, put in LED bulbs with a proper color temperature, 3000K or 3500K.
Right.
That clean, bright white light makes your paint look fresh. It makes the space feel larger.
I love the phrase Schlesser uses. It really changes the space.
Yeah.
It's not just about covering up dirt, it's about changing the feeling.
And speaking of covering up dirt, we have to talk about the most boring, but perhaps most critical part of this list.
Oh, no.
The part nobody wants to do.
Maintenance. The dreaded M word.
The source material is very clear on this. Before you go buying stone veneer or fancy light fixtures, you have to look at what is broken. The scuffed paint in the hallway where the kids drop their bags, the pile of leaves rotting in the side yard, the front door handle that jiggles.
The stuff you stop seeing because you live there every day.
Exactly. You become nose blind and house blind to your own wear and tear. But a buyer, they see it in 4K resolution.
Yeah.
And to a buyer, a scuff mark isn't just a scuff mark. It's a task. It's a lost Saturday.
And we established that buyers in 2026 are avoiding work. They are protecting their weekends.
They are avoiding the mental burden of work.
Yeah.
If they see a pile of leaves, they think, I have to rake that. If they see a water stain on the ceiling, even if you fixed the leak 5 years ago, they think mold, plumbing issues. Nightmare.
So by fixing it, you aren't just cleaning the house. You are removing friction.
That is the perfect way to frame it. You are eliminating reasons for them to say no.
Okay.
ROI isn't always about increasing the asking price by $10,000. Sometimes ROI is simply ensuring you actually get an offer at all because you didn't scare them away.
So let's recap. We have the exterior swaps garage doors, steel doors. We have the interior punches, paint, lights, hardware. This feels like a solid checklist.
It is.
I feel like I could go to the hardware store right now and win the real estate market.
Well, hold your horses just a second.
Uh-oh.
Because there is a very big flashing red warning light in the data that we need to discuss before you buy anything.
What's the catch?
The catch is that this is national data. The Zonda report aggregates numbers from across the country. It throws Phoenix, Philadelphia, and Portland into the same bucket. And as the cliche goes, real estate is hyper-local.
Right. What works in a sunny climate might not work in a snowy one.
Exactly. The source material explicitly states, this chart is a starting point, not a strategy.
I like that distinction. A starting point, not a strategy.
You have to consider local variance, neighborhood specifics, price point.
Sure.
For example, the data might say deck addition is a winner. But if you live in an area where it rains 9 months a year or where the bugs are terrible, nobody might care about a deck.
Good point.
Or if you are in a high-end luxury neighborhood, swapping your countertop for laminate might actually hurt your value, whereas in a starter home neighborhood, it might be a great upgrade.
So there's a danger of over-improving.
Huge danger. It's called being the white elephant of the block. You can spend $50,000 on renovations and only get $10,000 back in value because you outpaced the neighborhood cap. Nobody wants to buy the most expensive house on the street.
So how does the learner avoid this trap? If the spreadsheet says garage door, but my neighbor says kitchen, who do I listen to?
You listen to the local expert. The source advises talking to a real estate professional before you swing a single hammer.
Before. That's the key. Not after you've gutted the bathroom.
Please, not after. I've seen that happen too many times.
I bet.
An agent can tell you things a spreadsheet cannot. They can tell you, hey, in this zip code, buyers expect quartz countertops. If you don't have them, you sit on the market. Or, and this is crucial, they might say, don't touch that kitchen.
Really? Even if it's old?
Yes. They might say, in this neighborhood, buyers want to renovate it themselves to their own taste. If you put in a generic flip kitchen, they'll just rip it out.
So save your money.
Save your money, price it as is, and let them have the dream.
That as-is option is interesting. Sometimes the best ROI is spending $0.
Sometimes it is. But you won't know that unless you understand the specific inventory you are competing against right now.
Right.
An agent has walked through those other houses. They act as a project manager for your ROI.
That guidance seems invaluable. It prevents you from spending money you don't need to spend.
It stops you from over-improving and under-preparing. It's about calibration.
So let's bring this all together. It is January 24th. The clock is ticking toward the spring market.
Yep.
If I'm a listener sitting in my house right now, looking
Yeah.
around, what is the game plan?
Okay, step one. Don't wait for the weather. The market is waking up now. Start assessing immediately.
Step 2, look at your curb appeal with fresh, critical eyes.
Audit the envelope, that garage door, that front door, the siding. That is where the statistically highest returns are hiding. If the handshake your house offers is limp, fix it.
Step 3, inside, focus on the punchy updates.
Light fixtures, hardware, paint. And be ruthless about the honey-do list.
Yeah.
Eliminate the mental burden for the buyer. Fix the scuffs.
And step 4,
Call a pro. Validate your plan against the local reality. Don't rely solely on a national chart. Get someone who knows your street to sign off on the strategy.
what strikes me about this deep dive is how much of this is psychological.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about investment and dollars, but we're really talking about human behavior.
It is entirely psychological. I was thinking about that steel entry door statistic again.
Okay.
It's just a slab of metal, right? But to a buyer, it represents security. It represents newness.
It sets the tone for the whole tour.
Exactly. It raises a fascinating question for everyone listening to mull over today. If a simple steel door offers such a high return on investment, what does that say about how we make decisions? We like to think we are rational, calculating buyers who look at square footage and price per square foot.
Sure.
But the data suggests we are emotional creatures who judge a house by its handshake.
That is a great image. The house is shaking your hand before you even walk in.
And if that handshake is clammy, or the door rattles, or the paint is peeling, you don't trust the house. You enter with your guard up, looking for problems.
But if the handshake is firm, if the door is solid and the light is bright,
You walk in ready to fall in love.
So listeners, your homework assignment is simple. Go outside today, walk to the end of your driveway,
Yep.
turn around and look at your house like a stranger would. Really look at it. What kind of handshake is it offering?
And if you don't like the answer, well, you know where the hardware store is.
Garage doors and paintbrushes. That's the secret sauce for 2026. Thank you for diving deep with us today. We hope this saves you some time, money, and a whole lot of stress as we head into the spring season.
Happy renovating.
See you next time.